What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of RecTech on YouTube. So, Cliquify announced the launch of CLEO Intelligence, an AI-based data technology designed to help transform how organizations understand and strengthen their employer brand. Here to give us a demo is their CEO, Amit Parmar. Hey, Amit, how are you?
Good. Excited to be here, Chris. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what's new in employer branding, though, first in 2025? What are clients telling you? What are you telling clients these days?
Yeah, it's intelligence, data, and ROI. In this day and age that we live in, everybody wants to know, okay, I'm spending all this money in recruitment marketing, employer branding. What is it exactly doing for me in terms of candidate attraction and conversion, as well as retention, actually? So we're hearing that a lot from all of our customers as well as prospects.
Right. So, what is CLEO? Talk us through it, and then I guess we'll see a demo of it.
Yeah, so super excited. Thanks to our clients who helped us shape CLEO, our teams who built CLEO. CLEO stands for Cliquify Engagement Optimizer, Chris. And what it essentially does is every month it goes out there and listens to chatter regarding workplaces. So across channels like Reddit, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Comparably, Instagram, Facebook. And so we're essentially every month collecting all of this data for each of our clients as well as prospects, and then analyzing who they're losing talent to. So we couple that data with your talent competitors, and the output of that is super powerful in terms of exactly what kind of content strategies employer branding as well as recruitment marketing folks should be
Mhm.
putting out there. And it's very targeted in the sense of your EVP as well. And you and I both know, Chris, right? Being in this world, with companies normally spend 6 months, 9 months just doing research on their EVP, and
Yep.
then by the time they get to roll it out, it's already stale, right? Right. So the idea with Clio is to enable enterprises to be constantly listening as well as looking at the data, not only from Clio, but the overall Clickify platform, because we're a content distribution platform as well, to be able to marry all that and say, okay, what kind of content strategy should I be going after based on what my competitors are doing, as well as what my employees are telling me on these various channels where they're actually talking about your company.
What type of things are you seeing there on the chatter boards there?
Yeah, not to our surprise, Chris. We're seeing a lot of chatter on Reddit, actually more so than these other platforms. And what's interesting is, and as you know, Chris, right? There's anonymous data on Reddit more so probably than other platforms.
Hmm.
And we're hearing a lot of chatter around employees just getting thrown into roles without any training. Hiring manager, experience or candidate experience issues. No surprise there, right? Like things that employer branding and talent leaders already know, but now there's data backing all of this up. The other big thing we're hearing is early career talent. So as they're joining organizations, uh, frankly, there's really no support structure for them. They are kind of just thrown into the real world. Uh, those are kind of the main things we're seeing. We're starting to right now. The initial cut of Clio is global data, so our next iteration of Clio is going to get into job function as well as global or geographic data, so region as well as country level data. So I'm actually more excited about the next releases of Clio than about this one. So.
Awesome. Well, you're going to share your screen and show us some of the Clio product here. So go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So Clio is part of a broader platform. Of course, it can be sold separately to our clients and prospects, but really the value of it is when it's embedded into your overall content strategy and the bigger construct of Clickify. But if you look at Clio as a standalone, what you'll find is every month we're going out there and essentially capturing data on where companies are losing most of their talent to, so their
Hmm.
top talent competitors. We're then summarizing in a kind of an executive fashion every month what the positive, negative, as well as mixed reviews or sentiment is. And this is not just Glassdoor or Comparably. This is Reddit, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. So we're essentially combining all of that into one place. And then we're enabling comparison with all of the talent competitors. So this is like a summary across the industry as an example. And then based on that, Clio is actually suggesting content strategies for each of those pillars, right? And essentially based on the gap that we're seeing in the market from a sentiment standpoint. And then we'll actually bring this down to the content planner as well. So I'll pause there, Chris,
Okay,
to
yeah. Yeah, walk us through some of those content ideas if you could.
yeah. So for example, in the summary in this instance, we're seeing, or Clio is suggesting, that these are the 5 themes that this particular company needs to be talking about, because that's what we hear are the biggest issues and or strengths for that company. And so, for example, celebrating skills development and innovation. As you know, Chris, there's so much talk about skill-based hiring as an example. And this is a clear-cut way that's data-driven. That's, Clio is suggesting to this particular company in terms of how to position their particular skill development programs from an employer branding standpoint, right? So you take that, and then Clio is suggesting ideas for maybe a podcast or success stories, webinars on feature skills. So this is very tactical, from data all the way through to the types of actions from a content standpoint that the companies need to do, or this particular organization needs to do to engage with the workforce, candidates as well as employees, because we do know that it's not just candidates who are active on these channels with reviews. It's employees as well.
Yeah. Yeah, go back to summary for a second there. I wanted to look at that page and look at the positive and negative there. Let's look at the negative first. So this example you're showing us, is that a real company or is it?
Yeah, it's a real company, and it's data that we've pulled, because it's very difficult to just pull fake data from
Yeah.
even for demo purposes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a real company. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of company is it?
Well, in this instance, it is IBM, and just to share with the audience here, IBM is not a client of Cliquify's. We just happened to pull this report for IBM.
Gotcha. So some negatives are slow salary increments, career advancement, difficulty at promotions, some poor management, slow responsiveness. Okay. All right. Mixed. What's mixed mean? Just
Yeah, mixed is what we've trained our machine to do, is understand what are some of the mixed reviews, right? And positive, it's a mixed bag. Like you've got
gotcha.
somewhere in the middle. It's not fully positive. It's not fully negative. Right?
Interesting. Yeah, you really break down that all these little data points here.
Mhm.
Uh,
And then what I find super interesting as a former talent leader myself is how are we doing across the industry, right? So when you combine all of those talent competitors, what are kind of the themes that are occurring or reoccurring across the entire industry,
okay.
right?
So where do you see that on the
That's here in this
oh
section.
compare okay compare to oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha. There's no like chart or anything though. It's just it's summarized
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, it's highly qualitative in nature, because we're driving kind of content as the outcome
Gotcha.
that we want to drive out of this analysis. And so, for example, IBM is uniquely positioned as a leader in AI and quantum computing. No surprise, right? With Watson being probably one of the first like early adopters from an AI standpoint.
Hmm.
And so there are very specific things that are popping up here across the entire spectrum of where the talent is outflowing from IBM to these other companies like Wipro or Infosys and Cognizant.
Gotcha. And you have a content planner there. What's on that section?
So based on the summary and the content strategies, we won't just stop there. Like Clio is like, okay, well, what do you do with all these strategies? Well, we can actually create like a monthly content planner that's suggested based on all of that gap analysis. Now, what you see here are worldly events or days that are common across industries. But as Clio gets smarter, the idea here is that it'll actually start to give very specific content plan based on the gaps, right?
Very cool.
And then lastly, if you're a leader, you can compare yourself every month across any of your competitors. So let's say I wanted to see how I'm doing against Cognizant, right? So this data gets populated and updated every month, and in terms of positive and negative sentiment, comparing it side by side to each of the.
That's a really interesting section here on this. It's a nice side by side here of your competition.
Mhm. Yeah, and the idea here is for the employer branding or the recruitment marketing leader or the talent leader to really start to hone in on messages that are truly unique about your company versus your talent competitors, right? So, what's interesting here is, if you compare IBM and Cognizant, and by the way, neither of them are clients of Cliquify, but essentially what you're seeing here is compensation issues, across both companies. Career advancement more so an issue at IBM than it appears at Cognizant. Both companies have management issues, right? Um, there is some job security concerns at IBM, which may not be the case here at Cognizant. So this gets really detailed, right? Rigid corporate structures, which is understandable as big as IBM is, but
Hmm.
Cognizant is big as well. So there's something they're doing in their org structures and maybe the approval flows that is not popping up as a negative. So people may be happy with the corporate structure and the flexibility in terms of decision making that Cognizant provides versus IBM as an example.
Does Clio let you see any specific mentions of company stuff, like on Reddit or Glassdoor, or is it just summarizing everything?
Yeah, great question. So we're just getting started with the top level analysis. But version 2.0 is going to have a lot more dimensions. Leadership attributes, not just the CEO, but really digging into leaders and what kind of leaders they
Yeah.
are. Sustainability efforts, financial outlook, layoffs that are happening. Like we want to collect all kinds of additional insight to make Clio even more powerful.
Yeah, all kinds of workforce trends in there. I think you could pull out of there and stuff, make it a really good intelligence tool overall. But yeah, you're off to a good start, man. It's a pretty cool idea.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're super excited, and ultimately, we see a world in the future, Chris, where once we get more granular at the job function level, that we would likely open this up to candidates as well. So think of this platform not just for enterprises, but would be opened up for candidates. Because today, the candidates are probably going to all these different sites I mentioned to really, make an informed decision whether the workplace is right for them or not.
Yeah.
Right. Regardless of where the market is, I know we're in an employer-driven market right now, but as you know, it fluctuates. So uh, if you're top talent, regardless of the market conditions, you should be well informed based on the collective data that we're collecting.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about how you built this. Are you like did you tap in like the Glassdoor API or Reddit API and you're scanning for these company names? Is that essentially
Yeah,
how it
there.
works?
Yeah, a lot of crawlers out there, and then on top of that, it's not just we've built our own large language model on top of this. We've been building this, by the way, for 9 months. So what you're seeing is a culmination of 9 months worth of effort to essentially understand what are some of the commentary, what do they really mean, right? Like somebody might say, I've got growth challenges in this company. Well, what does that actually mean? Because then we connect that with other comments around that theme, right? So their large language model is super sophisticated, Chris.
Very cool. Well, how do you get it, Amit? Tell the folks where to go to learn more and sign up.
Well, I've got a gift for your listeners. If they
Oh,
simply go to getcleo.ai,
okay.
You don't have to take my word for it. You actually go in there and you simply select get my free report, enter your company domain, your work email, and you get your free report.
That's awesome.
It's as simple as that.
That's great. I love the free stuff there. So get Clio.ai. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
Very cool,
and
man.
you enter your company domain and your email, and literally within minutes you get your report emailed to you.
It's the power of AI. There you go.
Yeah, it's one of the so I'll share with you kind of early feedback from Clio because we have customers using it. We had one company, they spent 80,000 US dollars to essentially understand 6 months worth of data, pulling together like manually all this chatter that's happening. And they paid this vendor to do this. And they compared the output with what Clio provided literally within 2 hours, right? And they were like, yeah, this isn't much different from what I just spent $80,000 for.
Oh boy, here comes AI.
Yeah, I mean it's here now. Look, I will say, Chris, right? Like it's AI is there to enable you to do things faster, maybe better, right? I don't think the human intelligence piece is something we're after, right? Like we want the humans to put their lens because they know what's happening inside their organization. They might see this data and they say, yeah, you know what, we fully expected this, right? Because of XYZ, there's maybe a merger or acquisition happening, which by the way we can track. And so the idea with Clio is to just enable you to make better data-driven decisions on a monthly basis because the world, as you know, evolves so fast.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can
and
really
then
see CEOs liking this as well, just getting that sentiment analysis essentially of what's happening inside the organizations, from an employee standpoint. So,
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Chris. So we do have one client right now we're testing out ingesting their engagement survey data into Clio as well.
ah,
So Clio isn't just an external facing intelligence tool. We can ingest additional data sets from inside the enterprise and feed it into Clio as well.
that's great, man. All right. Well, Amit Parmar from Cliquify, get Clio.ai and Cliquify.com, right?
Clickify.com or .me. Yep, you got
.me.
it.
All right. We'll put that in the show notes for you. And Amit, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate the demo and good luck with the product.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate you.